Our second award is for litigation management, near and dear to my heart. And I will note that all of the women in this, all of the finalists in this category are women. Last year, Marie said of litigation management, what's that, babysitting Bay Street lawyers? She's not entirely wrong, but it's a whole lot more than that. So I'm going to use a football analogy because all of the finalists are women. Litigation management is like being the quarterback. There are obstacles, there will be fumbles, there are occasionally Hail Marys, and there are game day decisions. All good quarterbacks know when to adjust the play, when to press the advantage, and when to call an audible. Complexity, not size, defined exceptional accomplishment in this category. The advisory board looked for effective overall legal strategy as well as hands-on management of the team of external counsel. They also examined how those legal strategies and outcomes represented the company's brand, as well as how the nominee managed any multi-jurisdictional issues. Here to present the Litigation Management Award is Brad Hanna, partner and co-chair, Dispute Resolution, Franchising and Distribution, International Arbitration at Macmillan.
Well, I'm honored to be here with you tonight to present the Award for Excellence in Litigation Management. You know, there are fights to be fought in the context of every transaction and wars to be waged with regulators, but frankly, nowhere is conflict and all that it entails more ubiquitous than in the field of litigation. Litigation is by its nature a zero-sum, blame-ascribing game, and sometimes, not often, but sometimes, the dispute that you're involved in creates conflict and spills over among members of the same team, among counsel and their business people. And maybe a short parable will illustrate the point. I know you're thinking, a short parable, it's 9 o'clock, really? You got time for a parable? This is really short. And my parable involves a guy named George. George, who decides to pilot a hot air balloon. He's never done it before, but he figures how hard could it be, so he gets a book, he reads about how to pilot a hot air balloon, and he finds one for rent, and he stokes up the fire, and off he goes. And after a couple of hours, he finds himself floating in some really dense cloud cover. He's lost his bearings hours ago. He has no idea where he is. So he figures, I'm going to let some air out of the balloon, sink down below the cloud cover, and see where I am. And as he does so, in the distance, he sees a woman walking a dog in an endless green field. And so he hollers down and he says, hey, can you tell me where I am? Anybody know this parable? Show of hands. Anyone? Okay, keep your mouth shut, if you would, just for a few minutes. So the woman looks up at him and she says, well, as a matter of fact, you're in a hot air balloon. That's not the funny part. You're about 150 feet up in the air off the deck. You're traveling north-northwest at about 2 kilometers an hour. You're about 49 degrees latitude north and 86 degrees longitude west. And so George hollers back and he says, you must be a litigation lawyer. One on the ground looks back up and she says, why do you say that? And George says, well, the advice you give me is likely 100% accurate, but it doesn't help me in the slightest, not the slightest. So the woman on the ground pauses for a moment. She looks back up at him and she says, well, you must be one of my business people clients. George yells back and he says, why do you say that? Those of you who know the parable know the answer. So the woman says, well, first of all, you don't know where you are and you don't know where you're going. Secondly, you got yourself in this predicament yourself, and if you might have avoided it if you just reached out to me and asked for a little bit of proactive advice, which you didn't do. Thirdly, you expect me to provide you with an instant remedy. And fourthly, even though you're in the same position you were when we met, somehow all of this is all my fault. Right? So, in-house counsel who are in charge of managing litigation are much like the woman in this story. When your business people find themselves in a mess, they want you to fix the problem. Did I say something differently? I meant to say fix. Effectively, efficiently, and successfully. And each of the finalists in this category are exceptional at doing so. They provide advice that is helpful. They strategize with outside counsel to achieve success. And they lead their teams through the fog of battle with great aplomb. So on behalf of Macmillan, we congratulate each of the finalists, in particular Marlo, a former alum. There you go, clap it out. For their exemplary skill, their business acumen, insight, and proven litigation management abilities. So let's meet our finalists.
Litigation Management, presented by Macmillan. The finalists are Lilac Bosma, Deputy General Counsel, HSBC Bank Canada. Christina Cuthbert, Assistant General Counsel and Secretary, General Motors of Canada. Betty DelBianco, Executive Vice President, Chief Legal and Administrative Officer, Celestica. Jackie Famulak, Regional Legal Counsel and Manager of Government Affairs Canada, Apple Canada. Marlo Kravetsky, Senior Counsel, Legal Department, TD Bank Group. And Marie-France Nantel, Vice President, Legal Affairs and General Counsel, Target Sports.
And the winner is Betty. Somebody told me that this was going to be phonetically spelled. Betty DelBianco. Congratulations.
Well, I guess there is an upside to everything. Thank you very much. Well, you know, if I'd had my druthers, I wouldn't have spent the last 9 years of my life embroiled in this litigation. I am certainly happy for the experience and for the pleasure and the privilege of working with the extraordinary members of the Blake litigation team. So Nigel Campbell, Andrea Lang, you know, I love you guys, and I hope that I never have to work with you again. And Adrienne Lang, as the winner of the Litigation Award, I look forward to hosting this event next year. Thank you.